So this is a little shaky. We're still working through how to do this and work it out. First of all, the tarot deck that I am utilizing is this Deviant Moon Tarot. It's this really cool set that my sister bought for me, and I absolutely love the art. It's like super kind of crazy and spastic, as you'll see as we look at this, but I'm about it. So, first, and remembering that this tarot reading is for his character, Alhomin, who is a half-drow warlock who has a pact with the Legion. Algabasador. And which is basically like, think the Borg, but they want freedom. So, anyway, it's kind of complicated, but they'll get referenced a little bit in the reading. So this first card is the hero. What drives Alhomin? What's his hero? And the card is the King of Swords. Now, the King of Swords traditionally represents really clear, concise communication, but it also is relevant to swords as a whole, which is critical thinking. So the hero here is the idea for Alhomin of someone who is logical, just, and and is a good critical thinker, who is an effective communicator, and honestly, it's logic above everything else. That is what that card represents. So his hero and the qualities that he finds heroic is that piece of logic over everything. So next, we have the second card, which is the dominant outward quality in his character. Now, this is the devil, and it's reversed in this reading. And the interesting thing about Alhomin's character is that in the backstory, he was created, his mother was a human who was a slave to a drow. And he was born in secret and then sent away to basically, as young an age as his mother basically could, she sent him away to keep him safe and to try to get him to above ground out of the Underdark. So she sent him off, so he never had any human connections to his mother, he doesn't even know who his father is, and he was basically a slave that slowly made his way up to the surface until he finally made the pact with the Legion and was able to escape slavery. So the idea here in the devil reversed is that the devil traditionally represents chains and being chained to things and being chained to the things that motivate us and our addictions and our needs. And I see this devil reversed as he refuses to have chains, refuses to be chained to anyone or anything. And the only thing that he finds the need to be connected to is his patron. And, Daniel seemed to agree, which is great. Mm-hmm. Third card here is dominant inward quality. And this card is cool. So we got the Six of Pentacles reversed. Now, as you can see, like right here, there's like 5 hands there. There's 3 feet here. This card deck is so cool. But I loved that representation of the multiple hands to represent Alhomin. Or not Alhomin, but Algabasador, the Legion. And the reason for that is that Algabasador is a collection of entities that can't agree on a single thing except that they all want to be able to be free of one another. And so they pick their patrons, the people that they give powers to, because those people have specific qualities that Algabasador finds useful and thinks will give them the knowledge to be able to separate from each other. So because I really like the representation of, you have this character rising up and you have this other larger character giving the pentacles, which is resources, money, powers, in the case of him, down to the character who is coming up from the dark. And you literally have like drow coloring here in this guy, which is great. So I really liked this representation of this being the inward qualities. What is on the inside of Alhomin at his base is this idea of needing to repay, of this gift that was given by the Legion to him. And, that's what the Six of Pentacles kind of represents, is giving to people when you're able to. And so this idea that this internal quality is figuring out how to repay that debt and how to pass it on and pass it forward, kind of, too, I think. So the next one that we have, card 4, which is the Knight of Wands, and this card spot is the goal. Now, the Knight of Wands, this card version of the Knight of Wands is so cool. It's like a beetle with the crazy insect person like holding it. I'm going to try and like not shake so much. But it's cool. Anyways, what the Knight of Wands represents is like powering forward and moving forward with intention. Like, wands are passion, they're drive, they're forward momentum. So being driven forward is what this card represents. And to me, I see that as his goal. The patron's goal for Alhomin is to find the answers to the questions the patron has. He never knows exactly what they're going to be. And Alhomin's goal is to do that as well.
Yep.
To follow through and to keep moving forward and to just keep being also like one step ahead. Because like the Knight of Wands is a dude of action. So he's like, he usually is depicted on a running horse. So a skittering beetle is kind of cool though. So anyway, next we have motivation. Boom. This is a great card. The Nine of Cups reversed. Anytime, every time I see this card, what comes to my mind is be careful what you wish for. It's a monkey paw curse, or in this case, as is depicted in this card, it's a djinn. And for Alhomin, what that means is that he needs to be careful. He's wishing for this knowledge. He's wishing for this power. He wants to have this like logical, reasonable explanation, this rational piece of information. He needs to be careful what that means and what it will mean for him. And so I think that's an interesting kind of concept, especially because it's reversed. When the Nine of Cups shows reversed, that's it. Be careful. You will get what you want, so make sure that it's what you actually want. Now, the next card is the Stakes. And this is an interesting card, the King of Cups. This guy represents your creative side, your human side, kind of, your emotional side. He owns his emotions and is better for them. And so the idea that what's at stake is Alhomin's literal, I mean, it's not humanity exactly because he's half elf, half drow, but his literal like personness, what makes him unique and empathic and, have care for humanity or elfdom, I guess as a whole.
Humanity works.
Yeah. The other thing that Daniel volunteered is that, he feels like what's at stake is going crazy. The idea that Alhomin will eventually go insane from the knowledge that he garners for Algabassador. And so when he said that, I was like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense with this, because that's exactly what the King of Cups is. He's rational. When you have that King of Cups and it's not rational, that is a super crazy energy. And that is a really intense, tied in with the King of Swords at the beginning, of just like someone who takes logic to the extreme and doesn't have any emotion whatsoever. Now, the next card up here is the seventh card in the reading. It's the Flaw or Need. And this is the Empress reversed. Now, I thought this was really interesting because, of course, as I said, Alhomin's mother gave him up by the age of 5. This little baby half-drow was sent off to be a slave because she knew that if he was found where she was, he would be killed. So he literally went his entire existence without having anyone or anything that cared about him. And so that is a serious need. One, because that's just mental health reality, everybody. You need people around you. You can't be happy without that. And 2, a flaw. It creates a lack of empathy. It creates a lack of understanding. And it opens the door to make pacts with crazy alien beasts who may or may not make you like start wars and stuff. So it's an interesting way to think about it, but it's true. The next one is the source of the flaw. And This card's interesting. That it's the Three of Wands. One of the things that I think about this card when I see it is, like, when you think of threes in traditional tarot readings, three is the beginning of action. You've had this idea, you've thought about it, you've weighed the pros and cons, and now you're moving to action. And the Three of Wands is like action and passion, forward momentum that is excited and passionate. So I see this, the source of the flaw being, of course, that, we're not connected to anybody. We don't have any connections to anything, keeping us grounded to the earth. And so we have, or I guess in this case, grounded to Faerun, sort of, maybe. I haven't really decided if I'm going to keep that name or not for the world, but it doesn't matter. So, Three of Wands, making sure that, or actually attempting and putting this forward energy and forward momentum out to learn as much as he possibly can, to find out this information that his patron is wanting him to find out. And the interesting thing about this card landing in this position of the source of the flaw is that he's so intensely thinking about what matters to him. These little, like, you see this guy and he's pointing at these little flower things and he's like, this is the stuff that I am focused on. And so he doesn't even see the possibility that he might lose his sanity. He doesn't even see that he needs to be careful for what he's wishing for. He's so focused on the intention of what he wants to achieve that he's blinded to these other things. And I thought that was an interesting character development for our little half-drow friend. So then the last card in this reading is the effects of the flaw on the goal. Sorry, I had to lean over and look at my thing because I thought it said something random and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. So the effects of the flaw on the goal. Now this card, Four of Pentacles reversed, lots of reversals. Alhomin's had a rough life. So anyways, the Four of Pentacles reversed. I feel like this is about being careful for where his resources are spent. Like, Pentacles represent money, yeah, but they also represent resources. Time, energy, his spells, his literal magic in this case counts as a resource to him because he trades information for its use. And so, because that's what Albassador wants, information. So this interesting idea of being tempted to spend your resources on things that aren't important or don't matter. So like this lady, I mean, look at her. She kind of looks like a dancer, sort of. That's what was my initial thought as I was looking at it. Is I was like, oh my gosh, this totally looks like a dancer. And, what Daniel said is like, oh yeah, like a sex worker. And it was like, that's exactly right. And spending his resources on that instead of what he thinks is important. Daniel also pointed out the fact that he is missing one of his shoes. And I thought that was really interesting and sort of representative of that idea of like being a little bit crazy and like not really knowing exactly what or how you're spending those energy or those pentacles on. So anyways, the culmination of this is like this larger image of this character of this drow, Alhomin. And I thought it was really cool and interesting. Yeah. So after I had thrown the reading and read it to Daniel, I was like, oh man, I meant to record that. So now I did. And all you lovely YouTube folks can, check it out, read it. If you want the spread, I can put that information somewhere. And yeah, expect to see more of these. I want to start recording all of my various tarot readings. So anyways, have a good day. Bye.